We may have one of the best series we've seen in the past 10 years on TV right now. And it's being ruined by my co-host who likes to complain about refs. What's going on, guys? It's playoff hockey. It's the best time of year. It's Sunday night. We're hanging out. World Hockey Report, presented by Lordco Auto Parts, now open in Edmonton, Alberta, on St. Albert Trail Northwest. Jam-packed show for you. We're going to kick it off. Tyler Cool from The Cool Show hopping on here. Broadcaster, NHL analyst. Then we're going to hook up Peter Ball, Coco Vodka, Coco Rum, Colorado Avalanche writer for him, and then Yoni Nieminen for Quack Stats later on. Let's talk some North Division with him, maybe some Jesse Puljujärvi. We'll dive into that. Snap it over to Saskatchewan right away. Adam Ermintrout, what's going on, buddy? How's your Cry Cats doing?
No, they're good. I mean, I'll probably be not as into this show the first 20 minutes until intermission, and then I'll really dial in. So thankfully we have a guest on early.
I can't believe how much you complain on Twitter.
I just hate Tampa.
I can't stand Tampa more than the next person, but oof, not a good look for you right now. For a Sasky guy, we got to battle through it. Playoff hockey.
Yeah, I mean, if it's playoff hockey, they probably shouldn't disallow that one goal on Vasilevsky, but, whatever.
It's just a dirty push for the goaltender into the crease. All right, let's get to our guest. So Tyler Cool, broadcaster recently under 18s. What a tournament there. Also NHL analyst, hosts the show, The Cool Show for Lordco Auto Parts. Household name across Western Canada since 1974. Lordco, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Now they've finally come to Edmonton, carrying much more than just car parts. Their newest store in St. Albert Trail Northwest, huge selection of aftermarket auto parts, accessories, and a dedicated truck center 7 days a week. Go check them out, or you can go visit them online at lordco.com. Tyler Cool joins the show. Hey, I'm assuming you were able to catch the Pens Isles earlier today. Give me your thoughts on that one. I mean, Jarry kind of sucked for the Pens, but again, the Islanders found scoring and they got away. What was your thoughts, Tyler?
Well, I'll tell you this. Out of all, let's be honest. Going into this series, I'm thinking Lou Lamoriello is the worst general manager in the league with the trade that got Kyle Palmieri over. I'm like, he doesn't do anything. All of a sudden, he scores 2 goals, of course. And I'm like, well, that always helps. But the thing is, looking into that series, and I said on my show, I'm like, Pittsburgh's going to win this series because they can score more goals than the Islanders' offense could. At least that's what I thought, because goaltending-wise, Varlamov is sound like he may be good to go soon, but the way Sorokin played, we'll probably see him again. The Islanders have the better goaltending, and we saw that today in Tristan Jarry. This is his first playoff start, and, I've never been the biggest fan of him. He's played well, enough during the regular season, but just the way the Pittsburgh Penguins play, the Islanders have a shot in this series, but I still got my money on Pittsburgh. But boy, if Jarry allows those long-range wristers like he did, JG Pageau's goal, it was a great shot, but it's from 40 feet out. You got to stop that, right?
Yeah, did you think the Vegas-Minnesota game, what'd you think of that? Do you think it was a boring 1-0 or one of the more exciting games?
So the best way I described it, someone asked me, he's like, man, Talbot's getting more saves, but Fleury's getting the highlights. And I said it this way: Cam Talbot is your basic tomato plant in your garden. He grows your tomatoes. He doesn't look anything flashy. Flower is literally the roses you give to the girl, right? He's the one that gets all the highlights and the praise, but both did their jobs for the most part. And unfortunately, just for Fleury, he couldn't stop them all. That's how Flower's always been, though, in his career. He may not be in position half the time, but he'll make the majority of the saves that he gets. And Talbot, he's been doing what he's done for the Wild all season long. He's been very calm and cool and collected, and he's never been a flashy goaltender. You guys saw it up in there in Edmonton that during that 16-17 year. That's what I thought. I'm like, man, it's a blast from the past for Cam Talbot. He was never a flashy goaltender. He just stopped the puck and he made it look simple.
Didn't stop too many pucks last year against Dallas when the Flames needed it, but we'll move on from there. Tyler,
it's because Tkachuk was gone. That's why Tkachuk got hurt and ended up being the curtains for him, right?
Yeah, he really is the engine that drives that team. Tyler Cool here from the Cool Show on 12 Ounce Sports, joining us right now. NHL analyst, also hockey broadcaster. Canes Preds. I know you follow Nashville pretty closely there. What can you tell me about this team, and do they have a chance with Saros and net? Because, lineup, their forwards are weaker. Their defense are arguably weaker. I know they've got a couple of high performers, but let's go top to bottom. They're weaker. And goaltending, I think they've got that battle. But do they stand a chance in your mind?
I picked, I can't tell if I picked Carolina in 5 or 6. I did pick the Canes to win this series just because of how much deeper they are offensively. Usually Saros will put in the effort. He will stop the majority of the shots. He's going to have to. I mean, you look at the numbers, and for the second year in a row, let's be honest, this is probably the pointing, where Nashville's probably got the downfall. Roman Josi's their leading scorer for the second year in a row. And Roman Josi, I love him to death. Great defenseman, leader of that hockey club. But if your defenseman's your leading scorer and his name is not Robert Orr, that should be your telltale sign that you're in trouble offensively. Saros has played well down the stretch. His numbers have been one of the best from March 1st onward. He has been one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League. And that's why Nashville went on that great run towards the end of the month, and they were able to snag that last spot. This series may go 6 or 7, but Saros is going to have to put a Curtis Joseph-esque performance together if Nashville wants any shot. But I still think Carolina is just a lot deeper, and I think that the Canes are ready to make that jump to being a legit cup contender this year.
All right. You were just at the U18s, Tyler. Just what can you tell us about that? You're broadcasting them. Connor Bedard, Matvei Michkov, I believe it is. Just your whole experience with those two.
Those two, it's so crazy because we missed Shane Wright for the 2 of the pool games because we had Canada in pool. It was in Pool A, but since, the United States was hosting it, they got the nice rink, the nice facilities. We got put to the rink over there in Plano. Great facility, though, still put together there by the Dallas Stars. But Connor Bedard, the first couple games, you could tell that he was kind of maybe spooked a little bit playing international hockey. It seemed like, he was trying too much almost. And he was trying to really show up because, Steve Yzerman walked into our booth for goodness sakes. Now, he did it by accident, but, that's the kind of guys that were there watching these games. Draper was there. Doug Armstrong was there. So, Connor Bedard, yes, he's a highly touted prospect, the first ever WHL guy. Cody, you and I talked about him in spades last summer. We talked about him probably not being the best player in the WHL. He ended up being that pretty much. And let me tell you, this is the first time he's probably ever seen that kind of caliber of scouts watching him. So he probably got a little bit spooked, for the first couple games. So once he found his stride, oh my goodness, he was lethal. That goal in the gold medal game, the beautiful backhander, that's a backhander that I'm pretty even sure Sasha Barkov in this game against Tampa, I don't think he could even pull that move off.
He probably could, I think.
Well, yeah, maybe Barkov. Maybe if Verhaeghe, maybe opens it up, if Verhaeghe decides to give up the puck, because Verhaeghe's been a total puck hog this year, right? For the Panthers. But Michkov, I didn't get to see a whole lot of him firsthand. I did get to see him in the quarterfinal game, and obviously I watched him on hockey TV down here in the States. But he's so dynamic. He's so quick. He's similar to Bedard, not the biggest guy out there, but he's such a fluid skater. So quick with the puck. The goal he scored, because for the longest time it was 1-0 Russia against Belarus in that quarterfinal game, but the goal he scored, he literally just danced in the corner, and within a split second, he was all the way from the goal line along the boards to right in front, dancing around the goaltender around the crease. He's so quick. That's his thing. That's why he's got 12 goals, is because he's able to get into those high danger scoring areas, and he has the hands to even make those plays in tight, where, maybe as a guy his size, you wouldn't think he'd go to the front of the net. He's willing to, and he's got a good shot. And like I said, the hands to make the play and kind of leave goaltenders' jockstraps hanging from the ceiling.
Now, earlier this week on Oilers Now, Bob Stauffer had Canada's coach on, and he was telling Bob that Shane Wright played through the tournament with a fractured foot and strep throat. Now, obviously, that's going to hinder the kid's performance, but where do you see his ceiling? Is it, a player you got to watch firsthand at this tournament? Where's his ceiling at the NHL level, do you think?
It's so hard to tell, right? Because I went into this tournament with all the OHL players that had not played. You had, of course, you had McTavish that went overseas and Brandt Clark that went overseas, but the guys like Shane Wright and the goaltender, I'm like, all right, can these guys be ready to play? They've been skating and training as much as they could because Ontario is in an absolute disarray with COVID, with all the shutdowns and the multiple lockdowns they've had. Would they be ready to play? And then Shane Wright decided to score a hat trick in the first game, and I'm like, oh, the kid's okay. He is. I want to see what happens next year because it's gonna be weird because Alexis Lafreniere's first year in the NHL has been a little bit hazy, but we knew that Lafreniere, his second to last season in Rimouski, he was going to be the number one pick come draft. And Shane Wright is in that same boat. And I can tell you, his skill level, even when he was injured, he was still one of the most effective players on the ice. And if he can just continue to do, he's going to play on a Kingston team next year that I don't know. By trade deadline time next year in the OHL, of course, that's barring the OHL starts on time next year. That's a whole different story. But he'll be a guy that's probably going to get 30 draft picks traded for so he can go to a contender for an overage team to make a run at the Memorial Cup. That's how big of a player he's going to be, because I don't know if Kingston's going to be that team next year, because there's no question in my mind that Shane Wright, come the 22-23 season, is not in the National Hockey League. He is that ready when he goes in. Obviously, I think the big telltale sign is how he does in the World Juniors next year, because him and Connor Bedard, both those two, are going to be on the World Junior team. Because that was one thing I mentioned to Bruce Levine right from the first game. And I'm like, Canada has all these draft-eligible prospects this year, McTavish and, Stankoven's going to be there, all these great talented players. And I can tell you right here and now that their two best players are not even draft eligible this year. That's how good they are.
Just lastly here, Brad Lambert's tournament, I think, was pretty underwhelming. Elliot Friedman's kind of reporting that there's a lot of smoke around people wanting to see him in junior hockey. Just what'd you make of his performance there, and where do you think he ends up?
Well, Lambert is, he's an interesting story, right? Because he's both, he has both Canadian and Finnish descent in him. But I think he's a guy that if he gets more time, because you play a lot in the Finnish league, and I don't want to say that hinders him, but I think if he gets more looks next year with more scouts being able to go out and watch him, I think his value is going to go up. You can tell. Once again, it was another case of where I got to watch him a lot on TV, but seeing him in person in that quarterfinal game against the Swiss, you saw how dynamic he is with the puck. He likes it on his stick. Doesn't like giving it up until he knows that there's a scoring chance available. There is some room for him to improve, but he may not. He may be a guy that can jump into the top 10 eventually, but if he continues to develop overseas, or if he wants to play junior hockey some more, I think that may be beneficial. Give him a couple more years. He may be a guy within 3 or 4 years to be in the NHL, but you can tell there is certainly some raw talent there that he can use and develop into definitely an everyday NHLer.
Tyler, appreciate you taking the time here, letting us pick your brain. Unreal job at the under 18s. Just want to say shout out, congrats for that. But man, thank you for hopping on the show here tonight.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me, and best of luck the rest of the show. Enjoy the playoffs, guys.
Tyler Cool right there for Lordco Auto Parts. Be sure to check out his show Monday, Thursdays on 12 Ounce Sports, The Cool Show. Tyler Cool for Lordco Auto Parts. Moving along, NHL news for Pro Rock Hockey Sticks, family-owned Canadian company, changing the way we buy sticks. Top-the-line twigs, fraction of the cost, not even close. Been using them for a while now, Pro Rock. They're unreal. I'll never go back to one of the big companies. Pro Rock, lighter, more balanced, best price point comes to top of the line sticks. Check them out today, prorock.com. NHL news. Adam, I'm just going to rapid fire through a couple of these games here and get your thoughts. Obviously, Boston, Washington. Craig Anderson has to come in. Nick Dowd with the OT winner. Give me your thoughts there on that game.
Yeah, I think Washington was a better team. I know Boston missed a lot of shots, but I think that Marchand and Pasternak didn't look great, and I think Pasternak was getting a lot of flack. The Boston fans who didn't like the goals on Tuukka Rask, I really don't understand, but I think Washington was better, and I mean, and Ovechkin looked like a different player than he has in the last kind of regular season year.
To blame your goaltender in a 3-2 overtime loss is the most Boston thing ever, those hollow-headed idiots. I mean, just give it a rest. Also, shout out to our boy Zach Fucale, gets the call up. I think he's going to be third wheel right now in Washington. Samsonov is back from injury. They've also got Phoenix Copley, but again, I don't know. I don't think Copley played a ton this year, did he, in the American League? I think Fucale was kind of their go-to guy in Hershey for a bit. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but going off the top of my head, that's how I think it's been sitting. So it would be unreal to see him get in the game. Not that I want to see more injuries. Still, Washington, they take game one. They're up 1-0. The Isles, we already touched on it. Kyle Palmieri, he said, hey, Adam, you know, I saw your tweet there. I'm going to shove this one. 2 goals. Sorokin, yeah, I haven't talked too nice about him either. But, I mean, the Isles just win. They play greasy hockey. They get it done. We've said it from the start. Tristan Jarry is the X factor in this series. He let the Pens down. They're also without Malkin. But, please, I mean, this one's on Jarry.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? All 4 goals I don't think should go in, and all 4 were on the glove side too. So those are bad goals. Being without Malkin, I mean, you can't really ask much of that team. But the Cody Ceci, Mike Matheson pairing, I'm like watching, and it's just like these guys are cast-offs from their teams and whatnot. But yeah, for the Islanders, I'm surprised they were able to score 4 goals. But of course, it's a guy like Palmieri who didn't have a great regular season, and you saw with DeBrusk yesterday too, where they kind of got that big goal and looked pretty good after they kind of washed their season.
Adam shaking in his boots said he's got to pay up Big Rich here very soon once Lou shoves it to him. Moving along, Cam Talbot. I mean, Eriksson Ek gets the overtime winner. Wild win 1-0. We've said it a long time. Vegas's forwards, they are tough sledding. They're not going to score many goals. And hey, if you can't get one on the Minnesota Wild, it's going to be a long series for you. Sure, your defense can go punch for punch with anybody. Your goaltending is some of the best in the league. But come on, your big guys got to show up. Your Mark Stone's got to be better. Your William Karlsson's got to be better. It's just unacceptable. You go through a game and you score 0 goals, you better have a bounce back in game 2 or Vegas is in serious trouble.
Yeah, they had a lot of shots, but I don't know how many scoring chances they had, and they don't have much creativity on their team. They have their Alex Tucks and Marcia Shows and William Karlssons and Riley Smiths. You know, they're kind of like a dump and chase style team, but at the end of the day, you have to get scoring chances, and they didn't. And I mean, Ryan Hartman could add 6 goals that game or whatever it was, but I think Minnesota was a better team the last 2 periods of the game.
Fleury was unbelievable. Also, quick update. We are watching Panthers Lightning. Bolts are up 3-2. No big deal. Adam hasn't been able to complain about the refs here for about the past 20 minutes. So that's why you haven't heard from us on Twitter. Be sure to follow us there at World Hockey RPT. Okay. Quickly, a couple of notes here. Luke Henman, first Seattle Kraken signing. That's obviously pretty badass. Like, just to be able to say that you're the first signing, that's pretty cool. Let's touch on these hit from behinds here. Duclair gets run from behind. Bennett gets run from behind. Now, you say it's a 5 if he lays on the ice. That's probably the best argument you've had. I don't think, though, that they're more than minors in playoffs here. And Duclair wasn't at that egregious 3 feet away from the boards angle. I mean, he kind of just melted into there. The Bennett one seemed a little more dangerous, but again, he wasn't hit that violently. It's because he can't do a pull-up that he's going flying into the boards.
Yeah, I mean, the Bennett one, I think he more so caught a rep, but still to cross-check a guy when he's going in that fast into the boards is pretty greasy. And yeah, I don't really get the argument. It's like, okay, it's not a penalty in the playoffs. Well, then is it because there's 15 hits a game in the regular season, or would there be? It's a tough argument either way. But like I said, if Duclair lays on the ice dead, the refs are going to get together and throw a guy out of the game.
I got to be honest here, though. This is just full cut coming clean. I did not know until today that Kaprizov wore 97. Didn't know. I mean, yeah, that's rough outrageous look. It's a rough look, but I was like, what? He wears 97? You trying to be the next Connor? No thanks. Let's head to commercial break here, Peter Buck, after the Avalanche they got to open up their series. I heard they had some fireworks at practice. We're going to ask him about that. They got the Blues, who are getting on the COVID list here. Could be an interesting one. We'll dive into it next. It's Cody Jansen, Adam Ermintrout with you on World Hockey Report.
Lordco Auto Parts has been a household name in communities across Western Canada since 1974. Lordco is proudly Canadian owned and operated, and now they're in Edmonton. Carrying much more than just car parts, their newest store in St. Albert Trail Northwest has a huge selection of aftermarket auto parts and accessories. Visit them today for an exceptional customer experience or learn more about their products and services at lordco.com.
Take your game to the next level with Pro Rock hockey sticks. Pro Rock is changing the way we buy top-of-the-line twigs. They're lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point, whether you're a pro hockey player or a beer league legend. Pro Rock hockey sticks are made for you. They're at a price point you can't beat, so check them out today at prorock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
Refreshingly different, Coco Vodka and Coco Rum is a vacation in a can. The best drink you'll ever have is now on more shelves than ever. Enjoy the Coco life made with high-quality ingredients. Check us out today at enjoycoco.com. We are the real deal. Coco Vodka and Coco Rum.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Now, Adam likes the soft, skilled hockey. That's why he's looking forward to Tampa Bay and Florida in this first round matchup. Me, not so much. Give me the grit. Give me the speed. Give me the physicality. I want to watch the Colorado Avalanche and St. Louis Blues. That's what I'm looking forward to. And our next guest, Peter Baugh from the Athletic Colorado Avalanche writer, brought to you by our friends at Coco Vodka, Coco Rum. The weather's getting nicer out there. You need something to sip on while swinging the sticks, lighting up the barbecue, and watching some playoff hockey. Refreshingly different Coco Vodka Rum coming up with new cans in Canada. Flavors are next. Enjoy the Coco life with us. High quality ingredients, no fillers, no beer bloat, no cheap liquor. Coco Vodka, Coco Rum. You will not be disappointed. Peter Baugh joining us on World Hockey Report here. Cody Jansen, Adam Ermintrout with you. Hey, I heard there was some fireworks at Avs practice today. Give us the latest. I mean, was it just a slack show or what?
Oh, with Jared Bednar, the coach?
Yeah, I heard he was just losing his marbles.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. He was. There was a point in practice where it kind of hit a lull, and he just wanted the players to like pick it up a bit. And was like, the playoffs aren't going to be easy, and he threw in a few other words that I won't say on air. But he was after that. I don't think he was actually very upset. It was just kind of one of those where like sometimes people need a kick in the ass during practice, and he made sure to give it to him at that point. And yeah, it was funny. It was a good time, but. Yeah, I had a good time. We all like kind of turned to each other in the press box. We were like, oh, he's kind of mad. And then he calmed down and he was fine.
What do you make of this Avalanche St. Louis series? I mean, do you buy into the whole St. Louis is kind of the old Cup champions, or do you think the Avalanche shouldn't have too many problems?
The Avalanche should win. I mean, they're the more talented team. They have explosive playmakers, but I don't think that St. Louis can be overlooked. I mean, they are a team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, and they have a recipe that could work against the Avalanche, and that Ryan O'Reilly's really good and he's great defensively and could potentially shut down the McKinnon line or at least contain it as much as anyone. And then Binnington is capable of getting hot, as we saw 2 years ago. I would be surprised if St. Louis won this series, but I think that you've seen weird things happen in hockey playoff series, and just because the Avs are like analytics darlings and won the President's Trophy does not mean that like the Blues are going to roll over for them. So I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting series. If I were to guess, though, the Avalanche just on paper have a much deeper, better roster.
What do you think the biggest concern is for this Avs roster right now when you look at it? I mean, for me personally, I've got two things where Grubauer, he's got to stay healthy for an entire playoffs. We've yet to see that. And then the defense. Can they handle the big boy hockey? I mean, not just a bubble format, you know, the mean, gritty, the old school St. Louis Blues, the old school Vegas Golden Knights that get to real Stanley Cup finals.
I actually think that my biggest question with the roster is more the first one, is just like, can it stay healthy? Because I think if the Avalanche are healthy, they have as complete a team as anyone in the NHL, which isn't to say that they're like for sure going to win, but this is a roster good enough to win the Stanley Cup. And I think that defensively, like, it's not a fluke that they allowed the fewest shots of any team in the league. So maybe they don't have like, because Cale Makar is like so skilled and such a good skater, maybe people don't see him as like as much of a physical threat. And he's not a guy who's going to like fight people or anything like that, but he can lay a hit if he needs to. Like, he can play physically. And they have some of their guys on their second and third pairing, like Ryan Graves, like Patrick Nemeth, who are a little bigger and can play a little more like that. But I think that the Avs can play physical, and I think it's not, obviously they're not the team that you think of when you think of like big hits or anything, but I don't think that's a primary concern for me. For me, I'm just like, can this team stay healthy? Because I think if they do, then they're going to have a good chance against most teams.
This is kind of an interesting thought here, but do you think in a weird way this is the Avs' best chance to win the Cup? Because they're going to have to pay Cale Makar. They're going to have to pay Gabe Landeskog this summer. They might have to pay Grubauer if he does well. And I mean, and then it just keeps on going with Kadri and Burakovsky the year after, McKinnon the year after that. Do you think this is kind of their best chance to win it given their cap situation?
I actually wrote an article about this the other day at The Athletic, and I think that I hesitate to say it's their best chance because I don't know what the next 2 years are going to look like, but this is a really deep team that Joe Sakic has said is probably as deep of a roster as he's going to be able to build. And you're going to see players that they were able to add this year that they're not going to be able to add next year. The players like Brandon Saad, who they were able to trade for because they had cap space. Those guys aren't really going to be players that they can get in the future, which means that they're going to have to turn a lot more to like internal development, which fortunately for them, they have Alex Newhook, who already looks like a player capable of playing in the playoffs. They have Bowen Byram, who's played a bit this year but has been banged up. They have young guys kind of coming up, but I think that what you're going to see is that those guys are going to need to take more responsibility. And if they are ready to take that responsibility, then this Cup window can stay open for a little while. I think that right now it's certainly as good of a chance as they're going to get. I don't know if it's the best because I think they could potentially get back to this level of team, but it's a really good, deep team and really well built. And they're not going to have the like cap flexibility to do some of the things in the future that they were able to do this year.
Peter Barr, guest here from The Athletic, covering the Colorado Avalanche. Hey, did you catch any of the Vegas-Minnesota game earlier?
Yeah, so I was leading Avs practice, so I didn't see all of it, but I was able to catch a good chunk of it. It was a good game. It was exciting.
Give me your thoughts on that and potentially the Avs' next opponent if they get through round one.
Yeah, well, so it's weird. Minnesota plays Vegas really, really well. And I don't know. I mean, Vegas has the more complete roster, but Minnesota, for some reason, always seems to do well against them. It looked like Vegas, Pacioretty wasn't playing, right? I didn't see him out there. And it feels like they're maybe missing kind of that finisher right now. And I noticed that against the Avs, too, when Pacioretty didn't play. I guess it was Monday that they played, sometime last week. It seemed like they really missed, like they were getting the puck close to the net, but couldn't quite finish off plays. And I'm curious about them. I would imagine Vegas is such a good team that you would think that they would find a way to win the series, but Minnesota they've played well all year, and they've played really well against Vegas all year. So it could be a deep, long series, and I'm excited to watch it. It should be a lot of fun.
Just lastly here, Peter, I'm putting you on the spot. Give me your final four.
Oh, gosh. This is so hard. I'll go Carolina. I know they lost today, but I'll go Pittsburgh. I think, man, I'll have some fun. I'm going to say that McDavid gets it done. I'm going to say the Oilers get out of that division, and then I'll say the Avs make the Final Four.
I like that. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. We'll chat if the Avs win the Cup this year.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Peter Ball right there from The Athletic, covering the Colorado Avalanche for our friends over at Coco Vodka, Coco Rum. It's World Hockey Report presented by Lordco Auto Parts, the one-stop shop for quality RV, car, truck, or marine parts and accessories. Cody Jansen, Adam Ermintrout with you. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at World Hockey RPT, as well as Instagram and Facebook. Okay, you're blowing up on Twitter right now. The Bolts, and you make a fair point, but again, this is all within the rules, which is my argument.
Yeah.
Yes, there's 17 million over the cap, and the NHL allows it. But again, you can't. I mean, that's just smart team management, isn't it? It's genius.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess they aren't technically 17 million over the cap because apparently Marian Gabourik's on their long-term injured reserve. I don't think he's playing today or ever. But no, it's part of the league. I think it's an absurd rule, and for all the people that are going, yeah, Kucherov's it's his first game back from injury. This guy's probably has been fine for a month now, right? Like there's no chance he's actually been, this is like he's just magically healthy. He's probably been fine for a good month now.
See, I was going to ask that, but I didn't want to get into the whole ethics of it and, have people come after me being like, how do you think he'd fake injured? He's a pro athlete. That was on my mind too. And a little bit says Stamkos as well. Like, dude, I mean, you're going to tell me that these guys, they plan their rehabs to be ready just for game one? No, there's no way.
Not just for a playoff game. Yeah. Like, it's not like you're just ramping it up and you're going to try it in playoffs. Like, you're 110% healthy.
I have such a hard time believing that. Yeah. Also, I think, was it Montreal that Price and Gallagher are going to play in the American League tomorrow or something?
Yeah, Price's first American League game since 2008, where I think he took them to the Calder Cup.
I didn't even know he played in the American League. I thought he went straight to the show from City.
No.
Wow. Did not realize that. Okay, one of the memories that I was thinking about, and I mean, I can pick your brain a little bit too for some of your favorite playoff memories, but was Yaroslav Halak against the Washington Capitals?
Yeah.
Not one of the best playoff moments series you've ever watched?
Yeah, that was wild. And then all of a sudden he got traded, and I guess they made the right call clearly. But yeah, I mean, what were there? That was
Montreal wanted Price out. They hated that guy. They're idiots, stupid French idiots. Also, our producer James chimed in, Calder Cup champ. So there you go. Carey Price, Calder Cup champ. Is that good?
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous on Montreal that Caulfield skating as an extra, and they're an offensively challenged team.
He's their best goal scorer.
Yeah. Well, I saw that probably Toffoli.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but like
the guy
still,
who throws shade at Vancouver still. Like Canucks fans don't have enough to cry about this year. You got Toffoli dunking on you in the in playoffs.
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't make sense. They're offensively challenged, and he has 4 goals in 10 games or something like that. Like, I really wouldn't get it if they had to put in like Yoel Armia or something over him.
Adam, put on your ethics hat here. This is totally unrelated. Regular season games that don't matter. Why would the Calgary Flames, not forfeit the rest of the season and just try get the best draft pick spot?
Why is Vancouver playing Jimmy Vesey?
You didn't let me finish. Or B, play the entire American League team and just say, hey, we're just giving guys experience. Like, go golf early, Johnny. Go look at some houses in Philly or something. Like, why do they actually play these out? I really don't give a damn if these guys are like, oh, they're playing for contracts. Why are they playing for contracts in, the last 3 games of the year? What the hell were they doing for the rest of the time? It doesn't make sense. It's so stupid. And the NHL, I can't imagine how bad their ratings are. No offense to anyone who works at Sportsnet. It's probably pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't get that. Just like whoever, like Johnny Gaudreau, okay, you're hurt, don't play, whatever. Like, and the Raptors did this, and it's clear like you don't want to win, don't win. And I really don't get it. Especially in Vancouver, they claimed Jimmy Vesey off waivers, who's on his 3rd team in a year, and all of a sudden they have to play him in the lineup, and they get Matthew Highmore from Chicago, who's like a 4th liner at best, and they have to put him like, it really, really, really doesn't make sense. Like, hell, play Michael DiPietro if you're Vancouver. Just put
well,
in
that's
your
what I'm
age.
saying is get in these guys for experience. And I get it. There's this whole, recall. You got to have these guys rostered, whatever. I don't care. I mean, if that's a rule in the NHL, fix it. Because as soon as you're eliminated from the playoffs, you should just play your American League team. All these prospects that you see on your team in the next, 3 to 5 years, put them in the lineup. That's what it should be. I'm sorry. I get it. There's veterans who want to play. They're playing for future contracts. I really don't care. From a team's perspective, you want to lose and you want to develop players. Best way to do that, play your young guys.
Yeah, and if you're Calgary and if you're like Michael Backlund, like what do you have to prove? You have a guaranteed contract. Even Derek Ryan, like people would know what you were based off the first 52 games of the season opposed to the last 3. Like it doesn't make sense.
Do you think guys are just getting bent out of shape right now? Or do you think they're being, true pros? Do you think the couple of pops here and there?
No, they're so checked out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, NHL news here, sticking with it for Pro Rock Hockey Sticks. So I brought up the Minnesota Wild a little earlier. Cam Talbot, we got to talk about this guy because he had 40-plus saves again today. Is this another flash in the pan where he'll have, a good little streak and then all of a sudden he's going to be another 840 goaltender? Or do you think maybe this is the year that he's found it out and he's going to dial it in for an actual run?
I'll go a little in between. Like, I don't think he'll be 40 on 40 every night, but I also don't think he'll have those blowups. I think Minnesota's a lot better team than Calgary. They're deeper. It seems like a lot of people really like Dean Evason. So I'll just kind of say that Minnesota gets it a bit better. And if you look at Kaprizov, he's their best player and he's blocking shots and blowing guys up, something the guys in Calgary clearly weren't going to do. So yeah, and for Minnesota too, it's not like they have Eric Gustafson or something on their back end. They have Ian Cole, who's a veteran guy who knows how to win.
That's fair. You make some good points there. Speaking of some of Peter Baugh's answers regarding the Colorado Avalanche, I still do have some concerns about their back end. I get it. I'm not so worried about Cale Makar. I'm worried about your Sam Girards, your Bowen Byroms. When
Devon Taves, yeah.
Johnson's still out, right?
Yeah, that's the big one, and that's probably why they lost last year.
That's who I'm thinking of. Your big playoff style players, your guys who bring a lunch pail to the rink. Those are the guys I see you winning playoff games with. You can only have so many of these skilled D-men buzzing around before you eat a couple. Because if they're to play against a team like Tampa Bay from last year even, no, they're not making it through 7 games of that grind. Imagine them playing against St. Louis or Boston. Those teams would have them so battered and bruised it wouldn't even be funny.
Yeah, and the hits literally quadruple in playoffs. If you look at the Minnesota game today, there's like 130, and in their last game against Vegas, there's like 25. So,
and say whatever you want about the bubble last year, it wasn't actual playoff hockey. I get it. There was a fight off the opening shift. It was not the same playoff hockey. Even this year, still a little toned down. You're starting to get some of those buildings. Canada's going to be a joke. No fans. Sick of it. Figure out a way to get people in the barn. We've talked about it a million times. Alrighty, let's head off to a commercial break here. It's Cody Janes and Adam Ermintrout with you. Up next, Yoni Imanen. The Finnish whiz. This guy knows it all when it comes to Finnish players in the NHL. Maybe we'll pick his brain for World Championships as well, but we're mostly going to talk North Division. He's coming up next. It's World Hockey Report on 12 Ounce Sports.
Lordco Auto Parts has been a household name in communities across Western Canada since 1974. Lordco is proudly Canadian-owned and operated, and now they're in Edmonton. Carrying much more than just car parts, their newest store in St. Albert Trail Northwest has a huge selection of aftermarket auto parts and accessories. Visit them today for an exceptional customer experience or learn more about their products and services at lordco.com.
Take your game to the next level with Pro Rock hockey sticks. Pro Rock is changing the way we buy top-of-the-line twigs. They're lightweight, balanced, and provide the perfect kick point, whether you're a pro hockey player or a beer league legend. Pro Rock hockey sticks are made for you. They're at a price point you can't beat, so check them out today at prorock.com. Play like a Pro Rock.
Refreshingly different, Coco Vodka and Coco Rum is a vacation in a can. The best drink you'll ever have is now on more shelves than ever. Enjoy the Coco life made with high-quality ingredients. Check us out today at enjoycoco.com. We are the real deal. Coco Vodka and Coco Rum.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
So now that I got my North Division playing the playoffs without fans rant out of the way, I figured we'd pump the tires of some of the guys here that we're going to get to watch with Joni Nieminen. He's brought to you by Quack Stats, the most advanced player tracking technology. Now, hey, I'm not a big stats guy, but Quack Stats, simple, easy to understand. Go check them out today at quack_stats app coming soon. Joni Nieminen joins us here, Edmonton-based journalist. Let's talk about Edmonton and Winnipeg, because this series, from my perspective, the Oilers could end it in 4 if they get legitimate goaltending. What are you looking forward to, and who do you think are going to be the two difference makers? You know, one for each team in this series, Joni.
Oh, hey guys, hey Cody, hey Adam, James, good to be on. Yeah, this is the best time of the year for hockey for sure. The first series, chaos. First round. I'd say on Winnipeg Jets, Connor Hellebuck. There's a goalie who can steal a game or two. That's going to be a tough one and a difference maker. And on the Oilers, of course, you'd like to say Connor McDavid, but I'd say also Mike Smith. If Oilers get good goaltending, they should be able to win the series. But we'll see. I was actually on a Finnish podcast yesterday with two Finnish brothers. They have a podcast kind of like you guys, and they both picked Winnipeg to win the series, which I thought was kind of a surprise. Yeah,
even on time change over there.
Yeah, even with the time change. Yeah,
that's bold.
Speaking of Finnish hockey,
huge.
Yeah, speaking of Finnish hockey, I'm just going to switch gears a bit here. We're watching Florida Tampa. Is Barkov as celebrated as he should be in Finland? Because, I mean, I pump his tires all the time, as you might see, but I think he's just one of the best players in the NHL.
Yeah, I think he is. I think people consider him to be the best Finnish player right now. And people over there, they really appreciate people who can play both ways, and he certainly can. I think after this spring, I don't think people are going to call him the most underrated player anymore. Because if you don't see it now, you'll never will.
I think people call him underrated until he's out of Florida, if he's out of Florida, just due to Canadian ignorance. And that's, that's just something I'm thinking from my own end of the media side. Sticking with Finnish players, though, Jesse Puljujärvi, what a season for him. I mean, this is a guy who Edmonton media, and you know as well as anyone, Joni, I mean, they ripped on him. He's played in beer league over in Finland. He's a bust. He's done. Wow, has he changed the look of this Oilers offense this year? I'm loving it. I mean, were you shocked to see this? What's your thoughts on his progression this year?
I must be honest, I did not see it coming. I thought that he's got a lot of talent and everything else, but I did not see it coming. I didn't see this style. Like everything that he was doing wrong, he's doing right. Like he's totally embracing the playing in the tight corners and tight the space in the small rinks, and he's playing defensively. He's playing tough. Like you don't really like, he doesn't fight people or whatever, but he plays really strong in the corners, and he helps people. And when he gets a chance, a lot of the offensive talent that we saw in junior, they come out, and he just popped quite a few goals in there too. So in a supportive role that he plays, I think he's played great. I totally agree. And I like I said, I honestly didn't see it coming. It's wonderful to see.
Joni, so with Winnipeg, I mean, they kind of struggle in the back end. What do you think of their deployment of Ville Heinola right now? Because, I mean, it seems like he could make them better, but for whatever reason, they're just not playing him right now.
Yeah, that's. I think he's a name for the future. Like him and Sam Mikko, I've been kind of following. But do these guys get to play at all? And I don't think they will. But we'll put their names in the box for the next year for sure. It's too bad actually. Like we watched Heinola in the juniors. He was so good, and I don't see why he couldn't be playing. But I guess they go with the certain type of lineup and experience.
He's such a smooth skater when carrying the puck too. That was huge in the juniors. Like, just that puck control. I'm not going to say it's Cale Makar-esque, but it's something else. And as you said, he is the D-man of the future there. Now let's switch a little bit out east. Habs, Leafs. Do you think the Habs, they stand any chance, Joni, in this series?
Again, it comes to goaltending. I think if Carey Price can say, I think of the scenario, if Carey Price steals the first game, all the media back east, the Toronto media, is going to go nuts, and the pressure's going to be on. So if Carey Price can steal a couple games, and if, like say, Charles Anderson plays like a poor man's Mark Messier, and Toffoli pops in a few goals, and they might have a small chance, but this Toronto team is different. They got what they call the Fuss line. The Thorntons and Wayne Simmons and Spets are like surprisingly good still, and the guys like Foligno, and they have that sandpaper that they were lacking in previous years when they left after the first round. So this is very much different Toronto this time. So we'll see. Like Canadians, we were talking about it before. The Canadians win all the hitting numbers by far, but I'm not sure if that means that the other team has the puck or what, or if they can make the other team tired by hitting them every shift. That seems to be the way they're going in these playoffs anyway. Like I'm sure you're watching these games that are on, and just a hit parade in every game. Yeah.
We always talk about center depth on the show, and obviously Toronto has the advantage over the two young kids in Montreal. But what do you make of Jesperi Kotkaniemi so far? I mean, you'd be really familiar with him. To me, it seems like he could be good, and he does some really good things, but he's just not quite there yet.
Yeah, you know what? I've been trying to watch him, and in my opinion, just the numbers, the results are just not there. I think he's getting there. And it's too bad he's playing in a market where you're 20 years old, and then you're already being called a bust and this and that, and it's too bad that there's this. I don't know if he listens to that. I hope not, but like he's just a young player still. Like just give him a chance. Like you guys remember last year in Toronto's bubble, he played really really well, And now it looks like he's going to be watching, and I don't know if I agree with that either. But yeah, I think he's getting there. It's just the numbers are not there yet. One day they'll come. They'll start going in.
Montreal is such a weird team. Like, have you ever seen a team that deploys all 4 forward lines just 15 minutes a game, just line after line after line? Like, eventually, do you kind of agree you got to start relying on some of your big boys, kind of like Edmonton has done?
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't really have a read on Ducharme, the new coach, yet. We've seen him in junior, obviously, but I'm not sure what he's doing exactly. But yeah, it's an interesting team. I hear a team, but it might not last very long this year. We'll see.
He's coaching like Adam's midget AA team, just rolling the lines. Hey, Yoni, I got 2 quick last ones for you. One,
Sure.
World Championships are coming up here. It's a little bit of a weird year, but I feel like the buzz around this tournament isn't there. Is that the same in Finland? Is there just less buzz around the World Championships? And I mean, I follow a lot of European writers, European hockey guys and stuff. I just don't think that there's the buzz around the World Championships this year. The rosters don't seem as big. Are European guys a little more checked out to go to this tournament as well?
Yeah, it's a little bit, well, for obvious reasons, that's the big spring party over there. It's huge. I don't think people have any idea over here how huge it is, how big the numbers on TV are. Like, they're huge. And of course, this year, people would be traveling to the games and having a big parties everywhere and the whole week or 2 weeks or whatever the heck it is. So that's one big thing. You can't go there now, and you can't get together in your favorite sports bar and celebrate with all your friends either. And I am sure that takes some of the buzz out of it. And it's too bad. But like you said, it's a weird year. We just got to try to survive this year, and next year, hopefully, it'll be back to normal.
Wow, Florida goes up 4-3 here. Sorry to cut in there. What a city, though, Riga. I mean, I'm sure if the Canadians and Americans could go out in a real year, they'd have a blast. You get a lot of good NHLers then. Okay, you brought up a cool thing, though, about the Finnish League. I just want this story to close out here. We appreciate you taking the time. The Liga trophy, it's the Canada Cup. Can you just explain to everyone watching and, our listeners and stuff, how this came about? Because I think there's, kind of a cool background or history to this.
Oh, we call it Canada Malja, the Canada Bowl, what they call it. The Finnish-Canadian community, which I proudly think I'm a part of, even though
we welcome you
really, in. Pardon me?
We welcome you in. Your first line here.
Thank you. But I mean, I'm not really active in the Finnish-Canadian clubs or anything, although we have one here. They send me a newsletter all the time. But anyhow, the Finnish-Canadian community, I assume out of Ontario, where there's a lot of Finns, like Northern Ontario, they donated this trophy in 1951 to be given to the Finnish champions. And it's really cool. Like, if you get a chance to look at the Finnish championship trophy, it's a really cool looking, like kind of like an old school, like the Allen Cup or the Memorial Cup or one of those type of trophies. It's old, and it's got they've added all the names, and it's really, really cool. So that's the background story. It's kind of neat. As a Finnish Canadian, I'm a proud Finnish Canadian. I'm happy to see that the best team in Finland gets the Canada Bowl, like it's named correctly after the country where hockey's from.
I thought that was an awesome piece of history there too. So anyone, go check it out Onside with Yoni on Twitter. Hey, thank you so much for hopping on the show. We really appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy the playoffs. As you said, it's the best time of year.
Likewise. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yoni Nieminen, right there. Follow him on Twitter Onside. Bet Nordic, I think it is. Something like that, where he writes for. Awesome articles and stuff. He does it all. I mean, what a journalist. He's always at the rink. He's always watching hockey. He watches all of these Finnish players and prospects. And man, I mean, he's always a joy to talk to. I thought that Canada Bowl story was a cool one. I had no clue about it, so I seen it on Twitter. That's awesome. Hey, your Panthers, it looks like they're done complaining and they're playing some hockey here. We got Huberdeau with one, and who had the other one? Achari? 74.
No. Tippett, Owen Tippett, the son, the ginger guy,
the little ginger kid.
Yeah.
Okay, what did he get suspended for in the O? Didn't he shoot a puck into the crowd?
I don't remember that.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully no more overtime games.
Shut up! I want more overtime.
Shout out to Player Golf. Use our code World Hockey RPT for 20% off your order. Also use hashtag World WHROT Challenge for some prizes from players. So our guy Cord's been in on that, but we need some more people in. And also the people who go who pick the most obvious guy, it's never the most obvious guy that scores. Like everyone's like Kaprizov. It's never like that.
Okay, they're expert. I'm sure you're 3 for 3 so far. Also, Owen Tippett, 5-game suspension, flipped a puck into the stands after the game. That's a heck of a move right there. Also, better than mybookie.ag. Use promo code 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces. They're gonna match your deposit 50% up to $1,000. Just give me your pick for Game 1, Oilers Jets. What are you thinking?
I mean, David Staples had a good point on the Oilers where last year they're kind of a power play opportunistic team, and this year they're like a full goal better, just even strength. I honestly don't know the stat, but it seemed like they're better. Come on, Barkov, bang. No, it seemed like they're better and they're more dialed in, and they kind of get it. They also get a different look with Ryan McLeod and Dominic Cahoon. I think is better than Tyler Ennis, who's not even going to play this year. So I'm going to say Edmonton 4-2.
Yeah, I was thinking Edmonton just in regulation. Betting-wise, mybookie.ag, promo code 120Z Sports. Don't forget, download the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. The Hockey Podcast Network producing this one. Download, rate, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. What else do you got? Do you want to bench someone for Quack Stats as well? It's a Sunday show. We're buzzing. I'm feeling great. I'm a little disappointed. I don't have any Cocos in hand here. Would love to be sipping on this, watching this Florida Kappa game. What a riot going on right now.
No, I mean, we could just probably bench the Ontario government every week. Like last week, the premier said that they couldn't golf because everyone goes for beers after golf or something like that, where it's just like he's just like lives in a frat house, I guess. But yeah.
It's like, okay, well, if they're not going for beers at the golf course, they're going for beers in Buddy's house. I don't know.
And
I don't get it.
But if somebody's going to go for a beer at the golf course and break the rules, aren't they going to do that anyways? Like if they're that into it,
No kidding. I don't even understand it. It's so disappointing. Like I had a buddy who was in Vegas at the game today, and it just looked rocking. Like the pregame ceremony, you would have thought that there was 18,000 plus in there. I mean, when it's dark, you can't see the empty seats. It still feels rocking. It's buzzing. They've got the volume cranked to fun. I mean, like it's rocking in that building. And Canada playoffs are going to suck. It's going to be dead buildings. It's just embarrassing. We can't get fully vaccinated healthcare workers in there.
I got my vaccine.
Yeah, congrats to that. I had so many people that texted me, "Hey, congrats on getting your vaccine." I'm like, people have no clue. Like, hey, thanks for the text. Like, nope, wasn't me. But
I drove to Outlook like an hour away just because I was like, I need like anytime there like I saw a buddy went there, so there's a cancellation. So they're like, could you be here in 2 hours? Yep, sure. So and worked good with it and everything. So went to Outlook,
Do I say congrats? Do you congratulate someone for that?
I don't know. It's like maybe if you're like the first person.
I see your Wi-Fi is a little better today. Maybe it's helping.
Oh, it's better. Oh, I'm not even like hardlined in today, so I forgot that cord.
That was a 5G joke, you idiot.
Classic.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we got to wrap this up. Oof. That was a joke gone wrong. Shout out though, Tyler Cool. Love the conversation under 18s. Peter Baugh, the Avs and Blues, going to be one of the best series out west. And Yoni Nieminen. I mean, this guy's got all the stories. Diving into the finished prospects, that's huge. Shout out to our sponsors, Lordco Auto Parts, Coco Vodka, Coco Rum, Pro Rock, Quack Stats, MyBookie.ag, the Hockey Podcast Network, 12 Ounce Sports, and Player Golf. Until next week, for myself, Cody Janes, and our producer, James Sutherland, Adam Trout, Jeff back down at 12 Ounce Sports. Everyone, be kind, be better.
World Hockey Report is presented by Lordco Auto Parts, Pro Rock Hockey Sticks, Coco Vodka and Coco Rum, and Quack Stats.